Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be jumping into the world of Sanatana Dharma.
Whoa.
I think a lot of people know it better as Hinduism, and you have provided us with some excellent sources
Yes.
that really lay out the history and the core principles and like the global reach of this tradition. And it's a really a very old tradition.
Very old.
And it's kind of mind-blowing to think that according to Vedic mathematics,
Right.
Sanatana Dharma calculates its age to be like
It's
155.52 trillion years old.
Yeah, it's a very long time.
That is a very long time.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because a lot of people, think of it as a religion, but it's so much more than that. It's, it encompasses philosophy and, a way of life, ethical guidelines, so much more. And it's really evolved over millennia. And I think the insights are still incredibly relevant today.
Okay, so we've got to start at the beginning. And our sources are pointing to the Vedas as like the foundation of Sanatana Dharma. So can you just give us a little background on those?
The Vedas are considered the most ancient scriptures containing hymns and rituals and also philosophical concepts. There are 4 Vedas: the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, and Atharva Veda. And what I find fascinating is that they also include scientific observations, like detailed descriptions of celestial bodies and planetary movements. It makes you wonder, like, how advanced, ancient knowledge really was.
Yeah, I was going to say, I had no idea that stuff was in the Vedas. So the Vedas are like the source code.
Exactly.
They lay down the groundwork. And then as things develop, what comes after that in the evolution of Sanatana Dharma?
So we move into the Upanishads, which delve into even deeper philosophical waters.
Okay.
Grappling with the nature of the self, the concept of Brahman, the ultimate reality, and this interconnectedness of everything in the universe.
So they're taking those initial ideas from the Vedas and saying like, okay, let's
think about this.
Explore like the implications of this.
Just go deeper.
Go deeper into the mysteries of existence and being and all that.
Yeah, it's where things get more metaphysical, right?
Yeah.
And that's also where we encounter the concept of the 4 yugas, or epochs.
Okay.
The Sat Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dvapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga.
I am fascinated with this idea of like a cyclical view of time.
Yeah.
Can you break down like what makes each one unique? And like what are the major events or shifts that are happening within each one?
Sure. So each yuga represents a distinct phase in this cycle of time. Sati Yuga is the golden age, a time of virtue and spiritual enlightenment. Imagine a world where humans live for thousands of years.
Wow.
And they effortlessly connect with the divine.
That sounds pretty utopian.
It's considered the ideal age where dharma, or righteousness, is at its peak.
But like any cycle, things change, things shift. What happens next?
So in Treta Yuga, dharma begins to decline slightly.
Right.
And it's during this age that we encounter the epic story of the Ramayana.
Oh, yeah.
Where Lord Vishnu takes the form of Rama to restore balance and fight against evil.
Okay.
The Ramayana is not just a tale, though. It's filled with ethical dilemmas and lessons about duty. It's really a cornerstone of Indian culture.
So even as Dharma declines, there are these divine interventions coming to set things right.
Avatars coming to set things right.
I'm guessing as the cycle continues,
things get a little more complicated.
It gets a little more complicated.
Yes. So then in Dvapara Yuga, the balance between good and evil becomes even more precarious. This is the era of the Mahabharata, another epic tale that dives into the complexities of human nature. And it's within the Mahabharata that we find the Bhagavad Gita, which is a philosophical dialogue between Arjuna and Lord Krishna that offers guidance on navigating life's challenges and understanding our true purpose.
I've heard of the Bhagavad Gita. I've never actually read it, though. So it sounds like it's more than just a religious text.
It is. People from all walks of life find wisdom and inspiration in it. It covers everything from dealing with moral dilemmas to understanding the nature of reality and our place in the universe.
Okay, so we've gone from the golden age of Satya Yuga through these epic tales of Treta Yuga and Dvapara Yuga. And I'm guessing now we're in
Kali Yuga.
Kali Yuga, the present age.
The present age.
Which is depicted as a time of increased strife and spiritual darkness and a decline in moral values.
Right.
It's funny because that kind of sounds like how a lot of people describe the times we live in now.
It does.
It makes you think about whether these ancient concepts still hold relevance today.
Right.
But we'll get into that a little bit later.
It will.
For now, I want to switch gears a little bit and look at how Sanatana Dharma has contributed historically to science and knowledge.
Yes.
Because I think these contributions are often overlooked.
They are.
So I want to dive into that a little bit.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm ready to have some of my preconceived notions challenged.
Okay.
Okay, so we've looked at the origins, we've looked at the historical contributions of Sanatana Dharma.
Yeah.
But I really want to get into like the core principles now, the ideas that really make it tick.
Mm-hmm.
And two terms that I keep coming across are karma and dharma. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I think those terms are so overused, and sometimes I struggle with like,
yeah, they get oversimplified.
Understanding what they really mean.
Yeah, and their true meaning within Sanatana Dharma can get kind of lost, I think.
Right.
So let's start with karma. It's not some cosmic scorecard or a punishment reward system.
Right.
Instead, think of it as this universal principle of cause and effect.
Right.
Every action we take, every thought we have, even our intentions, create ripples that influence our future experiences.
So it's less about like being good to avoid punishment and more about recognizing that our choices have consequences.
Exactly.
To shape our path.
And this is where dharma comes in.
Okay.
It's often translated as duty or righteousness, but again, it goes beyond that.
Yeah.
It's about living in alignment with your true nature and purpose, acting in a way that supports the well-being of all, contributing to that cosmic order.
So how do we know what our dharma is? It seems like a pretty tricky thing to figure out.
It's a journey, not a destination, right?
Okay.
And Sanatana Dharma offers some guidance through the 4 Purusharthas.
Okay.
The 4 aims of human life.
Okay, so break those down for me.
Dharma, we've touched on. Artha, I'm guessing you know, is about material well-being, having the resources we need to live. Kama is the pursuit of desire and pleasure.
Right.
Right. And moksha is liberation.
Okay, so the kama one, the pursuit of desire and pleasure, I'm grappling with how that fits into the system that also emphasizes spiritual growth.
Right.
It seems a little contradictory.
It's all about balance. You know, Sanatana Dharma recognizes that we're human. We have desires. We enjoy the pleasures of life. Kama isn't about denying those desires. It's about integrating them in a healthy way.
So not about giving in to every whim, but understanding our desires and making sure they don't control us.
Yes.
Or lead us astray from our dharma.
Exactly. And ultimately, the aim is moksha. Liberation from that cycle of birth and death, right?
Right.
Achieving a state of enlightenment and union with the divine.
And that brings us back to the Atman, the immortal soul.
Yes.
That we talked about earlier.
Yes. The Atman is that eternal essence of who we are, right? Mm-hmm. Distinct from the physical body and mind. And it's that Atman that journeys through countless lifetimes, carrying the karmic impressions of our actions.
So it's constantly evolving, learning, growing through these experiences until it reaches moksha, this state of liberation.
Beautifully put, yeah.
And that leads to another fascinating thing about Sanatana Dharma.
Yeah.
Is the way that it understands the divine. We got Nirguna Brahman, the absolute reality beyond form and attributes. And then we have Saguna Brahman, the divine, manifested in various forms.
Yes.
This is where, I'll be honest, I get a little tripped up because I always think of like Sanatana Dharma as having all these deities.
Right.
And it seems very polytheistic.
Right. There's a lot more nuance to it than that.
Yeah.
You know, you have this ultimate reality that's beyond our comprehension, but then also these different aspects or manifestations of the divine that we can connect with on a personal level.
So like there's this vast ocean of divine energy.
Yeah.
And then these different waves or expressions of that energy that take on specific forms and qualities.
That's a great analogy, yeah. And the Trimurti with Brahma the creator, Vishnu the preserver, and Shiva the destroyer is a great example of this. You know, each deity representing a fundamental force in the universe. But it's important to remember that these are ultimately different aspects of that same unified divine reality.
So it's not about like worshiping separate gods, but understanding the different ways that divine manifests in the universe and in our lives.
Exactly. And this is where practices like yoga and meditation come in.
You know, when I think of yoga, I think of physical postures and stretching.
Right, right.
But I get the sense it's so much more than that.
It is. It is.
Within Sanatana Dharma?
Well, no, absolutely right. While Hatha Yoga with its postures is popular, it's just one branch of a much larger system.
Okay.
For example, Raja Yoga, as outlined in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, is a comprehensive path to self-realization through ethical discipline, meditation, and deep introspection.
So it really is about quieting the mind and connecting with our inner selves.
Yeah.
And ultimately experiencing that unity with the divine.
It's about aligning ourselves with that greater reality, however we choose to understand it.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of impact,
yes,
I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about Sanatana Dharma's global influence.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Because we already touched on his contributions to like science and mathematics. But it feels like its reach goes far beyond that.
It absolutely does, yeah.
And we can see that influence in various aspects of, like, global culture. I mean, take yoga, for instance.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's become a worldwide phenomenon.
It has.
People practice it for its physical and mental benefits.
Yeah.
It's really incredible to see how this ancient practice has transcended cultural boundaries.
Absolutely.
And become so mainstream. What do you think accounts for its popularity?
I think there's a longing for something deeper in our fast-paced world. Yeah. You know, people are looking for ways to manage stress, connect with their inner selves, find a sense of balance. Yoga offers all of that.
It's not just yoga, right?
Bro.
Ayurveda, with its holistic approach to health and well-being, it's also gaining traction globally.
It is. People are increasingly drawn to its emphasis on preventative care, natural remedies, treating the whole person, not just the symptoms.
Right. It seems like the world is rediscovering the wisdom of these ancient practices and finding that they offer valuable solutions to modern-day problems.
And beyond these specific practices, you know, Sanatana Dharma also carries this profound message of tolerance, diversity, and harmony.
That's something I find really intriguing. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, the concept of Sarvadharma Sambhava, which means respect for all religions, is central to Sanatana Dharma.
Okay.
It emphasizes the idea that there are many paths to the divine and that we should honor and respect the beliefs of others.
It's a really powerful message, especially in a world that often feels so divided.
It is.
Along, religious and ideological lines.
It is. It's about recognizing that underlying unity that connects us all, despite our differences. And this emphasis on unity and diversity is reflected in the vast pantheon of deities within Sanatana Dharma.
So rather than seeing, like, different deities as separate competing gods, it's about understanding them as different
facets. Yeah, different expressions.
Of that one divine source.
Exactly.
And that same spirit of inclusivity extends to embracing diverse perspectives and welcoming different approaches to spiritual practice.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've traveled from like ancient origins to global influence.
Right.
But what about Sanatana Dharma's relevance today?
Yeah.
Is this ancient tradition still alive and well?
It absolutely is.
In the modern world.
In fact, I'd say it's experiencing a resurgence of interest globally. People are drawn to its timeless wisdom, its emphasis on self-discovery, and its practical guidance for living a more fulfilling life.
It's fascinating to me that a tradition that's thousands of years old can still resonate with people in such a technologically advanced and rapidly changing world. What do you think is driving this renewed interest?
I think there are a few things at play. For one, there's a growing disillusionment with purely materialistic pursuits. You know, people are seeking deeper meaning and purpose beyond the hustle and bustle of modern life.
Like we're realizing that material possessions and external achievements don't necessarily lead to
lasting happiness.
Lasting happiness and fulfillment.
Yeah. And Sanatana Dharma, with its focus on spiritual growth, self-realization, and connecting with something greater than ourselves, offers a path to that deeper fulfillment.
It's not about escaping the world, but it's about transforming ourselves and in turn transforming the world around us.
Precisely. And another factor is the increasing awareness of the interconnectedness of all things. You know, we're facing these global challenges like climate change and social injustice that require a shifting consciousness, a recognition of our shared humanity and our responsibility to each other and the planet.
And it seems like Sanatana Dharma's emphasis on unity and compassion and living in harmony with nature really aligns with
perfect.
these emerging global values.
It does. The principles of ahimsa, satya, and sarvadharma sambhava are as relevant today as ever. They offer a framework for building a more peaceful, just, and sustainable world.
So it's not about clinging to, like, rigid dogma.
Yeah.
It's about finding ways to apply these timeless principles to the challenges and opportunities of,
of the 21st century.
The 21st century.
And this adaptability is key to Sanatana Dharma's continued relevance. It's a living tradition that honors the past, embraces the present, and looks towards the future with hope and wisdom.
It's like a bridge between the ancient and the modern.
Yeah. Yes.
Offering timeless wisdom that can help us navigate the complexities of contemporary life.
I love that analogy. And that's what's so fascinating about Sanatana Dharma. It's constantly evolving while staying true to its core principles. It's a tradition that has something to offer everyone, regardless of their background or beliefs.
Okay, we've covered so much ground in this deep dive.
We have.
Before we wrap up, I want to go back to those core values.
Yes.
That makes Sanatana Dharma so unique.
Yeah, let's revisit those guiding principles, those threads that weave together this rich tapestry of wisdom and practice.
We talked about how Sanatana Dharma is more than a set of beliefs. It's a way of life.
It is.
And these core values really highlight that.
Right.
So where do we even begin?
Well, let's start with ahimsa, the principle of nonviolence and compassion.
Okay.
It's not just about avoiding physical harm. It extends to our thoughts and words and actions, right? It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings and understanding that our actions have these ripple effects throughout, the web of life.
So it's about cultivating that deep sense of empathy.
Yeah.
And recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every living being.
Exactly.
Which makes me think about, like, how we treat the planet.
Yeah, absolutely. And ahimsa isn't limited to human interactions, right? It's about living in a way that minimizes harm to all creatures and the environment.
And there's satya, the unwavering commitment to truth. What makes this concept so important within Sanatana Dharma?
Well, satya is about living with integrity, right? Being honest with ourselves and others and constantly striving to align our actions with our words.
Yeah.
It's about seeking truth in all aspects of our lives, internal and external.
It sounds like it requires a lot of self-reflection.
It does.
And a willingness to kind of confront our own biases and inconsistencies.
It does, but it's through that process of self-examination that we can truly grow and evolve, right?
Yeah.
And satya is closely linked to another core value we discussed, sarvadharma sambhava, respect for all religions and spiritual paths.
This feels especially relevant in our world today where differences in beliefs so often lead to conflict and division.
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder that there isn't one right path, right?
Yeah.
Sanatana Dharma recognizes that the divine can be experienced and understood in countless ways, and it encourages us to approach different beliefs and practices with an open mind and a compassionate heart.
It's about finding that common ground, that shared humanity that connects us all.
Exactly.
Despite our differences.
Yeah, beautifully said.
And of course, we can't forget about karma.
Right.
That principle of cause and effect.
Right. Karma reminds us that our actions have consequences, and those consequences shape our journey.
Yeah.
It's not about, a divine being handing out rewards and punishments.
Right.
It's more about understanding that we are constantly creating our future through our choices.
So it's less about, like, fearing.
Yeah, fearing karmic retribution.
Karmic retribution. Right. More about recognizing the power we have to shape our own destiny.
Exactly.
Through our thoughts, words, and actions.
Precisely, yeah. It encourages us to act with awareness, intention, and responsibility.
And finally, there's adhyatmikata.
Yes.
Which points to this inward journey of seeking the divine within.
That's right.
I think this is where things come full circle.
Yeah.
Connect back to that concept of the Atman, this eternal self that resides within each of us.
Adhyatmikata is about recognizing that divine spark within ourselves.
Yeah.
And realizing our true nature as eternal beings. It's not about, adhering to rigid dogma or external rituals. Mm-hmm. It's about cultivating that deep connection with our inner selves, tapping into that source of wisdom and love that resides within each and every one of us.
Wow. What a journey through time and wisdom.
It has been.
It feels like we've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah, we have.
But hopefully, you've gained a deeper understanding of Sanatana Dharma.
Yeah. And one of the things that strikes me is how much emphasis Sanatana Dharma places on personal experience and self-discovery, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't dictate a single path or prescribe a set of rigid beliefs. It encourages each of us to find our own truth through exploration and self-reflection and direct experience.
It's an invitation to embark on this lifelong journey.
It is.
Of learning and growth.
Yeah.
And to really dive deep
yes.
into the mysteries of existence.
Exactly.
And discover the boundless potential that lies within. So we encourage you to explore further, to follow the threads that sparked your curiosity.
Yeah.
You're in this deep dive. What resonated most with you? What questions are lingering in your mind? The world of Sanatana Dharma is vast and endlessly fascinating, offering something for everyone who seeks to understand themselves and the universe a little better.